but told me to do this series, Sid, 2 weeks before the September economic collapse. He said, film this and do this DVD series, do this right now, and lay these principles out. Because when we get the principles that are laid out in here, the floodgates of heaven are open wide. It's automatic. We don't have to beg God for the finances. We don't have to beg God for the supernatural provision. It begins to flow.
You know, it's something that I learned that I never realized. There really is not a shortage.
There is no lack in the world today. There really is not. It is a great deception. Because everything, God, think about this. God knew how many people were going to live on this planet. God knew what we were going to need resources-wise for energy and everything. Don't you think God pre-planned to put it within the earth what was needed? Of course He has. There's enough wealth on the planet right now for every man, woman, boy, and girl each to have over $12 million.
That is so phenomenal. Say that again, Steve.
I've got 5 in my family.
How much?
$12 million. There's 5 in my family. My share's $60 million. You know, there is enough. We have the ability to grow enough crops. There is enough oil. There is enough energy. There is enough resources. But there is, because of sin, because of hoarding, because of control, because of political things that go on and economic things go on, there becomes shortages that are not real shortages. And shortages are used to drive up prices, to people in bondage. Don't you remember in the 1970s, we had run out of oil?
I remember the lines.
I remember the gas lines. And in the early 1980s, I remember the gas lines, sitting in line, only getting gas every other day. Well, how is it that 30, 40 years later, we're not having those lines now? It's because it was not a real thing.
There's contrived.
It's contrived. There is enough wealth and resources on this planet, but God has planned for that to be in the hands of His people for the end-time purposes.
And I love the way you teach on supernatural provision. Give me an example.
Well, there's this lady, a dear precious lady. She was in her 80s at the time, had never even graduated high school. I think only got to like 6th grade or something. And God would give her dreams. And in these dreams, she would dream chemical formulas. So she would wake up, never taking chemistry, and write down all the symbols that she saw. Then she took them to a chemist.
She never took any advanced courses?
Never took any advanced math, any advanced chemistry, didn't even know what these symbols meant. Took them to a chemist. The first one she took turned out to be this wonderful formula, chemical formula. The man said it was wonderful, awesome. They patented it and sold it, the rights to it for $60,000. But then she came up with another one that was an additive, a fuel additive, and she was offered millions and millions of dollars by OPEC countries because they didn't want it to be released out there. God gave supernatural ideas, supernatural creative ideas. And that's what God is going to do for us. We are not bound to the economic ups and downs of this society and of this life because we live in a God's economy.
Whatever happens to the economy, we can prosper.
We can prosper. There's always people who prosper in any economy. Well, it should be the children of God. God has promised. If we follow the principles, yes, tithing, yes, sowing seeds, but it's more than that. It's the value we place on money. It's the position we put it. It's how, are we operating under the world system of debt and borrowing and leverage, or are we operating under God's system? And so once we get these things right, the windows of heaven open up, the prosperity of God flows. And I'm living proof. I went from total debt of well over $350,000, including my mortgage, to 100% debt-free, including my house, paid for. We buy nothing on debt. Everything is paid for cash.